Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring some new products from the Honeybee Stamps and Make It Merry release. I am using the Artsy Angel stamps and dies and then this new Kaleidoscope 3D embossing folder. This video is actually part of a YouTube video hop and they are giving away two $50 gift cards, so make sure you comment as you're going through and leave the creators some love. This release is great. I'm sure you've seen a couple of different things by now from the release. A lot of people, I know I've seen a lot of videos with a lot of creators using it. I haven't seen a whole lot with this little angel, which is kind of what drew me to it. But today we're going to be talking a little bit about complementary colors. So this is a pretty straightforward, just ink blended background. I chose more purpley blues because I knew that I was going to choose more like golden yellows. And so all complementary colors means, if you're not familiar, is that they are opposites on the color wheel, and that means that they always look good together. So I've told you guys, I've shared recently that I have been struggling a little bit with my mojo in creating, that it's just like been a little bit off for me lately. And so one of the things that is a really easy fix for me to always come back to is complementary colors. I know that if I put red and green together, they're going to look good. I know if I put yellow and purple together, it's going to look good. I know if I put a yellow green with a pink, it's going to look good. And so in this case, it's not a precise complementary colors because blue's complement is orange, but it's close enough that you really get that impact when you put the card together. And so that's why I chose, like I said, more purpley blues. So the Chip Sapphire is more purple. The Prize Ribbon is more purple versus like a Blueprint Sketch, which I would normally use, which is a pretty true royal blue. So in doing that, I know that the complementary color that I'm going to add, which is more, like I said, those golden yellows, I chose to shade her wings with some E colors, which is the brown family in Copics, that were a bit more on the orange side. So here my ink blending is done. And with 3D embossing folders, I like to add a little bit of water so I get a good deep embossing without my paper cracking. But in order to make sure that I keep my ink blending intact, I'm actually going to spritz the back of the paper. Once I have it in the folder and it's face down and that portion is protected, I just added a light mist to the back and then ran it through my die cutting machine to get that really deep embossing. And I really like this 3D embossing folder. I think it's a great design. I think it's super interesting, but can still be it's like versatile. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word that's escaping me, is versatile. So that's done. I set that aside, and then I am stamping in our Black Bee Creative ink. This is safe for alcohol markers, and I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring. So I did end up stamping this twice just so that I would have a nice bold outline, and then we'll get into the Copic coloring. The colors that I chose some neutrals for the skin tone. Of course, you could do a darker skin tone and that would still be neutral. But then I chose a hair color that was pretty similar to her skin tone because I really want the wings to be the focal point. Like I want to be the wings, what draws you in. And so in order to use those complementary colors to the best of my ability, it means really the only other colors I'm going to use are neutrals. So your browns, grays, black, white, like those are your neutral colors. Even though I think blue is a neutral, it doesn't technically make the list. So here, we're just shading like we normally would. Anytime two points meet, or where an object lays on top of another object, that's where you're going to have your shading. And that's what I did with her skin tone. I'm going to do the same thing with her hair. You can see on her left-hand side, our right, that it's kind of billowing out. And so the underneath of it will be a little bit darker, and the piece on her right, our left, is tucked behind, and that there's one piece pulled forward. That piece will be a little bit lighter, but I'm not really spending a whole lot of time on her hair because this is not my focal point. My focal point is these wings. That's like her dress and her wings. The dress I chose to do in blues as well, but I chose to do them in a different shade of blue. I did them in the B0 family, so it's a little bit brighter. It's not, the navy that the background is. So it's still going to work well with our complement that we're trying to create because it's not competing. It's just really kind of highlighting. So here, the only other shading that I added, other than what I've just told you, where they meet and where one lays on top of the other, I did add a little bit of shading in the middle of her dress to give it a little bit of shape, and you'll see that on my next color. Speaking of my next color, it is still a BO2, but I used the Chow instead of the sketch marker because my sketch marker needs to be re-inked, and I didn't want to take the time to do it. Just being transparent. I was being lazy, and I'm okay with that. But here, I'm just adding this little swoop and I'm following the same line that the illustrator already drew. I'm just pushing it a little back, and this is just going to give that dress a little bit more movement. And then down at the bottom of her skirt, I added a little bit of shading into the center. And again, this is just going to kind of give her dress more movement. I am leaving a lighter edge on the edge of her dress to show how that is flipping up. But that's really the only other shading that I added. And you could just, practice that coloring clothing or coloring folds on, different images and see, how you like it. It's not something you have to add, but it is something you have the option to if you're just looking for a little bit more dimension in your coloring. So you may have noticed that I'm snotty again. Thankfully, it waited until after trick-or-treating was over before it full-blown kicked in. I think we were one street away from the house when I had a sneezing fit, and then ever since then my nose has just been running like crazy. But does there ever anybody anywhere that has kids that you're getting ready for trick-or-treating that you have your stuff together in a timely fashion? Do those people exist? I'm not one of those people. Every Halloween is crazy. And especially now that we have 2 kids instead of 1, it's even more just wild. So I was trying to make sure everybody got fed before we went, as well as get myself ready, get the kids ready. And my husband wonderfully took off work, so he was home to help out with things. He went and got Caitlin from daycare instead of me having to go do it, so that way I could hop in the shower. And then I just did totally cheater dinner, sheet pan dinner. Everything goes on one sheet pan, and then you just shove it in the oven, is normally how I would do it. However, Peanut has been complaining lately that he doesn't like potatoes that are roasted in the oven, even though he has eaten them multiple times. But now all of a sudden it's a problem. So instead of the potatoes that I would have preferred to eat that would have taken me less time, we made rice instead. But anywho, so I was trying to get everybody fed. Eric went and got Caitlin, and we ate dinner, and then it was a mad dash to get everybody dressed. My sister, I think I told you in yesterday's video, my sister and her boyfriend were going to come over and go trick-or-treating with us. So they came in. Her boyfriend, Jerry, saw the kids and was like, okay, I'm going to Home Depot. And I was like, okay, bye. Apparently he had a job that he didn't get quite caught up on, which, dude, can I relate to that? And so he had to go try to knock it out while the weather was still good. Speaking of the weather, we totally lucked out, you guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jesus. It was one of the nicest Halloweens I can remember. Let's go back to the card. So here with the wings, I'm actually starting with my darkest color. And normally I don't do this. But I was pretty confident with the lines that were pretty straightforward. So what I'm doing is I'm going in with my darkest color and I'm just following the lines that are already drawn into the wings. I'm just extending them out just a little bit past the black lines. That's it. That's all that I'm doing. And as I move in from my darkest color into my lightest color, I will just add a little bit more of each color until it's completely filled in. You may notice that the color that I chose, E99, is my normal go-to color, but then the second color that I chose is a little bit more on the orange side. And like I said, that plays back to that complementary color because orange's complement is blue. And so even though I'm going to be adding a golden yellow to this, I still want the base of it to be more on the orange side so that it's really going to pop with this color. To be fair, if you did like an eggplant, like purple color, it would work just as well. This color combination would work just as well to kind of get that pop, because yellow is purple's complement. So I just really wanted them to kind of like pop off of this card and really be the focal point, and I think that we did achieve that. So I did not originally show you the lightest color. I didn't think I was going to need it, but it turned out that I did, and that lightest color is a Y02. That will be what I will use to fill in just the smallest portion of my highlights. So anyway, we totally lucked out with the weather. It was so good. It was like a mild 60, no rain. So Miss Caitlin was able to go out and at least go out long enough to get down to see my parents. And about 7 o'clock, Eric brought her back home to feed her. So she was out for about an hour. She did really good. She kept trying to take off her socks, though. That was a problem. But anywho, so here with the card, normally I color my outline after I die cut it. And I think I used to do this where I would do the outline beforehand. And then I just got into the habit because of scene cards where I needed to match it that I die cut it first. But actually over the weekend I was teaching at the All To Do retreat and somebody had mentioned that Emily Midget, who is brilliant and also on this blog hop, or video hop, it's not really a blog hop, that she did it before she die cut it. And I was like, gosh, that Emily, she's so smart. So this time I just outlined it with a matching color, pretty relatively close. I knew that I could adjust it if I needed to. And then I pulled out some navy cardstock. This is Nautical from Hero Arts. And I am just going to be heat embossing my sentiment. If you haven't seen them yet, Honeybee just came out with some new pigment inks. This is the Brilliant White pigment ink, but they also came out with a gold and a silver, which are beautiful. So I'm just heat setting this using some white detail embossing powder, and then I will trim it out with its coordinating dye. I really like the sentiments in this set. Like there's some really, really good holiday ones. That plus, all of the dyes coordinate with the sentiments. It's so nice. Like, no more big chunky labels because it cuts them out. I love that. And then there's one that you can use like on the inside on the card that says wishing you peace, love, and joy this beautiful season and all year long. Totally like that there's kind of like an inside, like a sneaky inside sentiment. So after I was looking at everything, all my pieces together, I decided that I did want to trim down my background just a little bit so that I would have a white border. I felt like this kind of broke up that super dark background. So I'm just going to glue this down using my Honeybee glue. And then to add even more texture, I will be popping up my angel and my sentiment as well. So yeah, we had great weather. Nathan was super well behaved. He hooked up with one of the kids in the neighborhood and their parents, like we all went together. And his dad came. And then my sister, so like everybody was chatting with everybody, and I got to see, I got the nicest compliment. So I saw some girl that I knew from when I was young, because I grew up in this development, right? And she was talking to me, and she was like, you haven't changed at all. You look exactly the same. And I was like, that is so nice. Because then right after that, she was like, do you remember your 15th birthday party and something about dancing to some song or whatever? And I was like, I just smiled and nodded because I didn't want to be rude, but I was like, no, I don't remember my 15th birthday party. But if you do and you think that I have not aged at all and I am almost 40, like, I'm gonna take it, girl. Thank you. Thank you. That's so nice of you. So I added some white highlights to her dress. You could also use white highlights on the wings for sure, but I have this gold metallic pencil and it just adds, or pencil pen, that just adds a little bit more shimmer, and so I decided to use that. And then once that was dry, I went over it with my clear glitter again, more sparkle. I love the sparkle, and then that's it. I'm going to be honest with you, the photos for this video are trash because I had to take them at night. So this is probably a more accurate representation of what the card actually looks like. So enjoy the hop. I hope you check out the new release, and don't forget to leave a comment so that you have a chance to win one of the gift cards. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.